to the session, and let me get rid of this. I have now a dialogue right in the middle of my screen. Let me see how I can get rid of it. I have to stop my presentation. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, great. So welcome everyone. So yeah, today we're going to talk about how to set up an automated testing regime for Drupal. So a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about today are specific to Drupal, but a lot aren't. So even if you don't use Drupal, I think you're going to get value out of this. And so I've been working with Drupal since 4.7, which would be around 2007, and have worked on all sorts of sites, both large and small. Those are some of the projects that I've worked on. And so on my last project, I got bit by the automation testing bug. And so now I'm knee deep in really learning how to do it well. I was in charge of setting it up on the last project, and we learned a lot. Some things that we didn't do well, I'm going to share in this presentation so that you don't make the same mistakes. All right, so let's just dive in. By the way, if you do have questions, go ahead and enter them into the chat, and I will acknowledge them. And if it makes sense to answer them in the moment, I will do that. Otherwise, if I'm going to talk about that, I'm going to wait until a little bit later. I'll just mention that I'm going to bring that up soon. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so what are we going to look at today? We're going to look at why use automated testing. What does a comprehensive testing regime look like? What are Cypress and Playwright? Why Cypress and Playwright over their competitors? How to use Drush and some best practices for automated testing. Running tests in parallel, we'll take a look at that. Comparison between Cypress and Playwright. QA accounts, sensitive passwords, and other tools. Selecting tests and core tests. We'll have a short demo, and then we'll have QA. Now, originally, this talk was just going to be on Cypress, and that's how I submitted it. But I decided to spend some time looking at Playwright because it is coming on strong, and decided that I think it would be better for everyone if we handled both tools at the same time. So that's a little history of this talk. Okay, so why automated testing? Are you experiencing production downtime due to bugs you wish had been caught earlier? Is your team nervous to add new features, to remove dead code, to refactor code? Or perhaps it's your goal to have self-testing code as a step towards continuous integration or continuous deployment. All of these are valid reasons to look into automated testing, because here's the hierarchy of bug hunting. Well, you can have users find your bugs. That's not nearly as good as having manual testers find the bugs. And that, of course, is not as good as automated testing finding the bugs. Now, in reality, what happens is the automated testing handles the most common sorts of situations, and you still need manual testers for exploratory bug hunting. They are going to know how to test things that are new, for one thing, or they're going to know how to look for edge cases. And if the edge cases haven't been put into the automated tests, then obviously the automated tests aren't going to find them. So manual testers are never going to go away, but you do want to make them more productive by taking as much of their workload off of them as possible for the automated testing. Sorry, by the automated testing. So essentially, it comes down to don't let users test your app. That's bad. And why is that bad? Well, production bugs impact users and they are expensive. Take a look at this graph. This is the relative cost to fix an error. You might have seen this before in time in your history. So you can see that if you find the error when it's in the requirements phase, it's much cheaper than in design, in coding, and testing, and production. So it is expensive, and it's not just expensive in terms of cost. It's expensive because it costs the team the mental space and the confidence that they are putting out clean code every time. So let's take a look at some major reasons why you might want to use automated testing other than what we just said. So modern day fast-paced release schedules can easily introduce uncaught bugs. Automated testing catches these bugs. Refactoring to introduce major new features requires automated testing. Ensuring most development time is on new features instead of bug fixes requires automated testing. Reliable, low frustration bug fixing, and by that I mean fixing a bug that doesn't introduce another bug, requires automated testing. So some people think that it is very expensive to do automated testing, and they're not wrong because you do have to devote some resources. But let's compare over time as a website gets more complex, what the cost is going to be. Now, these are obviously not using real numbers, okay, but you can generally assume it's going to be something like this. As the site gets more complex, if you only have manual testers, then the cost per year gets more and more because you have a bigger site to test and there's no automation. With automated testing, you can expect to put a fair amount of money up front when you get the project going, and then over time, it should actually stabilize and stay roughly even. So where does the cost come in? Obviously, there's the cost of running the automated tests, but you still have those manual testers who are doing the edge cases and when new features are being rolled out. So what does a comprehensive test regime look like? Well, for that, we'll look at what the World Quality Report, which is put out by Capgemini, said. And what they're saying is that there's this move from quality assurance to quality engineering. And they say, quote, this end-to-end quality automation must be fully integrated within the IT development process. Well, they're a little bit ahead of the game because the last numbers I saw are that about 80% of teams don't have any automated testing. So these folks are saying, move from quality assurance, which is, can I confirm at the very end that the site is working, to moving it earlier in the process to make sure that my process produces high quality code every time. So that's what they're saying we should do. Well, there are a lot of teams that don't have automated testing yet. Not wrong, but just be aware that what they're saying is an aspirational goal for a lot of people. So you may have heard of this concept of shifting left or shift left. And so in shift left, what happens is you move the testing from the right-hand side of this process earlier and earlier. As soon as you can you start to define tests? And then do those tests filter back down to the developer so that maybe the very first thing the developer does is before they start coding on a new ticket, they actually write the test for it. And the test might be just the very simple, hey, do I see a simple answer? And then what happens is the testing continues in parallel, or the writing of the test continues in parallel with the coding. This is called test-driven development, and it will mean that you're going to get better code because if you can test it right from the beginning, you're often going to make architectural decisions that are better actually for the construction of the code. So shifting your testing left is part of this process of engineering quality into your system. And what do you get out of that? Well, you get reduced costs, you get faster feature rollouts, you get higher quality, you get a better user experience. So when can end-to-end testing be run in the software lifecycle? This is not exhaustive, but these are the areas that you're going to probably want to look at first. And you're going to pick them according to where your team is in its implementation of automated testing. So these are not in any particular order, but you do want to look at, obviously, at the developer desktop during development. So if they're adding a new feature, they want to be able to run tests before they submit their code to make sure that when they actually put in a PR or a merge request, it's actually going to run. So you want all the developers to be able to run tests. When a merge request is created, or before a commit, if you're not using merge requests, during integration, more regression testing, before deployment, after deployment, during acceptance testing, And you can have continuous testing, which means that you're running your suite of tests on some regular basis. So these are the most common places that you are going to want to look at adding end-to-end testing and automated testing. So in other words, test early, test often. It can take some time to set this up completely, months actually, until you've got everything sorted out. But start at the beginning of the project, even if it's just the developers are able to run their tests. And include all tests pass as a gate in your processes as quickly as possible. So eventually what you want to get to the point where the very first question they're going to ask is, okay, well, are the tests passing? And you can continue with the conversation if someone can say, yes, all the tests are passing. Great, okay, we can go to the next step for a rollout or something like that. And then you can even go to the next step, which is you prevent deployments if any of the tests fail. That's a pretty darn high level of lack of flaky tests and broken tests, because there's usually a percentage of tests, even if it's small, that aren't going to work. And so if you do need some way to override that, even if you add that into your processes, be sure there's a way to override it, because you're going to have some tests that are flaky. You know why. You don't want to spend the time to fix them, but it's actually okay to deploy. Okay, so what are Cypress and Playwright? There are a lot of tools out there. If you have started to look into automated testing, it's insane how many tools there are out there. But two of them have captured a lot of attention. There are, of course, the traditional ones like Selenium. I'm not really going to do a huge comparison, but the two big ones right now that seem to have a lot of mind share are Cypress, and coming on strong is Playwright. So Cypress and Playwright are modern, open source, end-to-end automation frameworks for testing websites. And I just grabbed this maybe last week. So this is how they're doing in the market. Let's take a look at each of them. So blue is Cypress, and you can see that it was released back around, technically I think it was around 2017 or even maybe 2016. And it's been growing quite nicely. Then you can see red is Puppeteer. That's Google's tool. And I believe it can only run on Chrome. So you can't do testing with Firefox or Edge or anything like that. But that might be useful for some people. So it's also doing very well in terms of downloads. Then you can see the green is Playwright. And it has just been released. I think it was like 2020 was its first year. And so it's coming on strong, and I'll share why it's coming on strong in just a second. Then you can see Selenium WebDriver in yellow, and that's dropping off a little bit. Okay, so why these tools over their competitors? Well, for one thing, it's very fast setup. The architectures are faster and more reliable, particularly with Playwright, but Cypress is already such a speed increase over some of the other tools that I've used that it qualifies as well. The tests are written in JavaScript in the case of Cypress, or TypeScript, or for Playwright, you can write in multiple languages, Java, C#, Python, or JavaScript and TypeScript. So there's some amount of flexibility in Playwright, but with Cypress, at least it's the language of the web. Both have access to the document object model and other browser features. Both have access to a debugger, which is fantastic. And both handle end-to-end and component testing. So when you're testing components for a front end using React or Vue or whatever your favorite framework is, it's actually a little bit more difficult to do component testing, and you need a special mode at least Cypress has a special mode that allows you to test the components a little bit easier. Okay, so these slides here came from Gleb Bamutov, who is huge in the Cypress world. He runs some great sites and releases videos regularly showing how to do things. And I asked for his permission to use these, and this has been my experience too. So even though these are his slides, I think that I would concur with what he's saying here. So what's the relative ease of implementing manual tests? Well, you can see installation is pretty easy. Writing tests, that's pretty easy too. Just if you have a test case tool, you just write up the test case, the steps. That's pretty simple. Running the test, that's actually not so easy. That takes a long time because it's manual. Debugging, same thing. And maintenance. Okay, now here's Selenium. Again, this was my experience. Installation was a bit of a bear, and then it kept breaking. Writing test was okay. Running test was okay. Debugging test got more interesting and harder, and the same thing with maintenance. Then there are these no-code tools. One of them is Mabel, and again, very easy installation because what you're just basically doing is you're recording as you walk through the user paths of your website. So the writing of the test is pretty easy. The running of the test is easy. Debugging the test is relatively easy because you can just see from the video what's actually going on. But then the maintenance becomes a bear because if you want to change something in the middle of it, often what you have to do is start from scratch and you have to rewrite, you have to re-record the whole test. So Gleb moved to his current company and they were using Mabel and the whole team was we can't do this anymore. We're spending more of our time maintaining the tests than actually writing new ones. So he was actually brought on board to replace Mabel with Cypress. So I'm going to say that this slide was actually his for Cypress, but I think this qualifies for Playwright as well. And you generally get a pretty nice experience in all these areas. Okay, now what about units testing, component testing, and integration tests? You can see that the typical test pyramid is on the left-hand side with E to E end-to-end testing at the top. API integration component unit all the way at the bottom. And this is indicating in theory that the end-to-end tests are actually taking up very few cycles of either the running of them or the effort in your team to make them. But that's not what I've seen in real world Drupal. In real world Drupal, and this comes from Sean's, this comes from Sean, I think I see him here. Thanks for coming, Sean. Slide. In the real world Drupal, it actually looks more like that. Now, does the E to E mean that you're not doing API tests or integration tests or component tests? No, not at all. It just means that these tools tend to also take over those. So you can use the tool and just make end-to-end tests, but these tools also can, in fact, produce pretty reasonable other tests like the API integration and component test. So thanks for that slide, Sean. Okay, and Mark. Okay, so let's take a look at some specifics specifically with Drush. And then we'll do some best practices. So how can Drush be used? Well, tests need setup and they often need teardown. And so, for instance, you can put in some dummy data. Let's say that you're standing up a test server, and you're using a preview tool like Tugboat, where every branch or I guess you can do every branch, or you can do every PR. You get your own preview of the whole site. You just often need to set up dummy data. So Drush comes in handy for that. You often need to set up permissions and configuration before the test begins, and Drush is great for that. Services often need to be pointed away from production to test instances. Again, that could actually happen either by manually altering the configuration or by doing a Drush sim configuration import, and you have an import where you're actually all the subsystems that you would normally have pointing to production. Instead, you're actually now pointing them to a set of test systems because you don't want to change the real system, the production system. Now, Drush, recall, does provide a way to communicate with remote machines, and if anyone is using Drush with Acquia, you can just download the little file that will give Drush everything it needs so that when you say, hey, Drush, I want you to talk to this server, it will know exactly behind the scenes what the URL is and how to connect to them. If you're using Pantheon, you can use Terminus and then you can say remote :Drush, and then you specify the site and the environment variable. And that will send a Drush command to Pantheon. For other targets, like what we had to do in this last project, we had to actually create an SSH tunnel and execute the Drush commands on the target machine. So when you're creating your specific Drush commands, do keep in mind that you need to have them be able to run locally. They need to run perhaps inside of a container and outside of a container. This is on the developer's machine. And they need to target machines that are elsewhere. They might be the test servers, or it might be actually production. There are people who say never test on production. I'm not one of them. I think that if you are nervous about testing on production, that actually is an indicator that you've got some work to do. It means you may not run all the same tests on production, and you may certainly not leave detritus behind with bad, data. But I think that you do want to be able to run tests on production, but you have to do it inobtrusively and in a way that cleans up after itself. Okay, so let's take a look at some best practices. So there are a lot of testers out there who only do page object models. And it's interesting to go into the history of why they were created. I'm not ragging on, on page object models, okay? There are times when they're very useful, but in reality, they were invented to get around the constraints of Selenium. So tools like Cypress have custom commands built in and reusable functions. To me, these are way better than trying to turn everything into a page object model. So these custom commands offer a better way to construct tests. They bundle functionality like logging into a custom command. Like I said, it doesn't mean never use page object models. For certain complex forms or widgets, you may exactly want to set up a page object model. So go ahead and do that. But I think the teams that only know how to do page object models aren't taking advantage of some of the features of these new tools. Now, Playwright doesn't have nearly as slick a system for making custom commands as Cypress, but it does have functions, and so you can use those. Okay, next best practice. Try to use selectors that are unlikely to change. So use an ID when it's available. If an ID does not have a good selector, use XPath temporarily and create a ticket to add a better selector to the element. I'm going to actually get into into selectors in a little bit. But the point here is you want to teach everyone on your team to pick selectors that are unlikely to change, because if a selector changes, that's going to cause one of your tests to fail. That's going to contribute to flakiness, and it's going to contribute to frustration on the team. Okay. Let's see. If there's a problem with missing selectors across many elements of the same type, okay, like you have a component that shows up, it's a little tougher when you're using front-end frameworks, a little easier when you're using Drupal's built-in method of rendering pages, but you can write a little Drupal plugin to alter the output. Everyone should remember that you can always do that. So if you're missing something, go ahead, write the plugin that rewrites the output of the HTML and gives an element or a selector that you can actually use. Okay, here's another best practice. I did say use XPath until you actually correct the missing selector, but there are lots of teams who actually ban XPath completely. Okay, it's just too unreliable because the DOM will change and XPath depends on the structure of the DOM. So again, if you're trying to keep the number of flaky tests to a minimum, it's probably a pretty good idea to ban XPath completely. So you could consider the hierarchy of choosing selectors from the testing library. So the testing library is an open source library that's useful. It's written in a bunch of different languages. And if you go to their documentation, here's what they recommend. Now these are specific to the testing library. So you have to either create your own function that mimics the testing library, or you have to use the testing library to get access to this. But in any case, it says, okay, here's one way, get by role. Okay, that's interesting. Queries the element based on its accessibility role. Get by label text. Okay, labels don't change as often sometimes as other things like classes. Semantic queries, get by placeholder text. Interesting. Okay, that may not change too often. Get by text. Again, get by display value. Again, okay, then test IDs. In the end, you can use the actual CSS ID. Now, why did it start with accessibility? Because if you are also using your tests to test to make sure that accessibility is working, the testing library says you want to pick selectors that are most likely to be used by humans if they were looking at the page. So that's why they've created this hierarchy, starting with accessibility and then only at the very bottom going back to accessibility. But you notice the XPath is nowhere near there. Okay, next best practice. Running tests in your CI/CD system sounds convenient and inexpensive because you're already paying for it. They can even perform basic parallelization. So you see this all the time. People are using GitHub Actions because it has this matrix feature where you can actually spin up a bunch of different containers for your tool, and it works, but it sort of only works. Often the containers are slow, and that means that the videos won't record properly. Collecting result has to be manually set up. You're still in charge of everything here. Shutting down a cluster may not be graceful, which results in a timeout. It's difficult to debug a test that's trapped inside of a workflow. And test load balancing isn't really possible because all it does is it brute forces splits up the tests across the matrix. So there's some optimization that it can't do. So this is all to say that these services, these grids, are really helpful, whether it's Testery or Sauce Labs or Lambda Test, they are really providing a lot of value. So before you go down the pike, the path of trying to reproduce all the work that these tools do, consider that it's actually quite a lot of work that they are doing for you. Okay, more best practices. Use feature flags to expose new features to test. Roll these yourself or use a tool like Launch Darkly. That means that you have less work setting up specific test infrastructure for certain kinds of tests. Now, a lot of this kind of goes away if you're using a tool like Tugboat, which I'll talk about in just a second, but not entirely. And sometimes you still need to test things in a production environment. Consider using Lighthouse CI to test pages. You can insert this into your automated testing regime, and you can then query it. You can say, hey, Lighthouse, how long did it take for this page to render? Oh, it took 5 seconds. My cutoff is actually 3. I need you to fail this test. So that's actually an interesting idea that you can ask this plugin, Lighthouse CI, to render or to give you results of your performance. And the performance can be speed, or it can be accessibility, or whatever. You can add that to your system. If you are using visual testing and you use kind of just the basic system, they are trying to get better in making sure that one snapshot doesn't trigger a failed test, even if it's not too different from another one. But they can't compete with artificial intelligence tools like Applet tools that are really designed for that. So if you're using visual testing across, well, as part of your regime, and you're tired of having false negatives, you might need to bump up the tool to use something like Applet tools. And there are other competitors in the marketplace. Okay, so more best practices. When using Cypress, always search cypress.tips first. This is Gleb Bamutov's website, and it's excellent. He has hundreds of, it might even be approaching 1,000 videos and blog posts. If you can't find how to do something in Cypress in there, you can, he's very accessible. Go to one of his other venues, like maybe his Discord channel, and you can ask and say, how do you do this? A lot of times he's going to suggest kindly, search first. Did you search Cypress tips? Because it's an astonishing library he's created there. There's another fellow, Philip. He has a Discord channel. Another group of people there will share their knowledge of Cypress. You can take Gleb's courses. Here are some of them. Cypress version 10 fundamentals, Cypress plugins. So a lot of functionality is created by Cypress plugins. There's a very rich, it's like modules to Drupal. These are modules for Cypress. And if you want to know what the most important plugins are, this course goes through them and how to use them. If you need to know really low level network testing, then you can take his course on that. He's got just a general introduction to Cypress by walking you through very thorough how to test something he's calling the swag store. And then he's got a new one that I don't think is rolled out yet, called Cypress versus Playwright. Okay, so let's talk about running tests in parallel. I'm just checking my time because, let's see if Keynote shows me. Yeah, okay, good, we're doing well. All right, so running tests in parallel, how do you do that? So you can, with Cypress, use cypress.io. So when the team who released Cypress decided to open source it, they did need to find a way to get some revenue and to keep the company going. So they have launched cypress.io, and it's actually a really great tool. It also has a free tier that you might want to try. It might even work permanently for smaller projects if you don't run too many tests. And it includes parallelization, it includes load balancing, it includes debugging, analytics, and integrations with other tools like Slack and whatnot. Now, what do I mean by load balancing? It's fairly smart. So the first time it runs all the tests, it records how long it took. And let's say that you told it, hey, I'm like actually 8 different parallel tasks running at the same time. So then the next time when you trigger your test using the system, it's going to send the test to the proper threads to execute. That the goal is that they all end at about the same time. So if you have a 10-minute test, for instance, and on the whole, all the tests are going to run within 10 minutes. Well, one thread might only get that one 10-minute test. That's it. And the other 7 tests are going to get a mishmash of the other ones. And that way you aren't waiting. Sometimes you can wait quite a while without this kind of optimization to get all your test results. So it's actually quite nice. So the paid tiers provide more users and more test results. They provide something called flake detection, Jira integration, more email support, more integrations. Working with them, they seemed great. We got answers to our questions fairly quickly. So that definitely have no problem recommending that. And of course, using their service supports further development of the tool. There's a competitor, an open source competitor called Sorry Cypress. Obviously, it's a kind of a play on words or a dig on Cypress because you don't actually have to pay money to Cypress. You can stand up your own infrastructure and create a self-hosted dashboard using that tool. Or you can use currents.dev, which is basically Sorry Cypress, but hosted by someone else. And if you'd like to see a comparison of hosting it yourself versus Currents versus Cypress, you can go to that link. I'll post this, the PDF of this keynote after we're all done. So it'll be on the webcam page. Okay, so parallel testing with Playwright is basically, you can do self-distribution, which is built in, and that's, you still need to set up the servers yourself. So that's exactly equivalent with every other tool. If you want to do it yourself, you can do it yourself. But you can also hire companies like Testry, Lambda, Test, Sauce Labs, and so on to run them in parallel. And if they don't have them exactly right now, it will soon because Playwright is coming on strong. Okay, so additional orchestration features you want to look for. Test optimization, we talked about that already. Running failed tests first. Doesn't make sense to spend an hour running all the tests that worked the last time and then only finding out after an hour that the failed test still failed. So optimization tools are also going to move the failed tests to the beginning. You definitely want to do that. Fail fast. There's no point in running the rest of the test when a failure occurs. And you want to be able to execute tests run by tags. And that allows you to specify, especially when you're making something that's triggered off of a merge request, you're going to include in the merge request the tag that's going to get sent along to the whatever tool you're using, so that it knows exactly what tests that you want to run. Doesn't maybe make sense to run 3 hours of tests when you're just changing one small part of the code. You'll leave that for the overnight tests to find if there are bugs elsewhere. And you need to be able to run tests by environment, by browser, by operating system, and more. Okay, I'm not going to get into reporting because there's a lot to that, but the basics is set up the reports so that the key people learn about the broken test quickly, either into a Slack channel or email or both. Okay, how am I doing for time? All right, differences between Playwright and Cypress. All right, so this is what I've been working on for the last 4 weeks. Let's take a look. Okay, so what's in common? Well, they're both made on Node.js. They're both open source. They both include debugging, including time travel. That just got released for Playwright. So Playwright and Cypress are now, I would say, equivalent in terms of their GUI. Very, very slick. They both can record videos. They can both record snapshots. They both provide visual testings. In both of them, you can record a test and it will write, you'll walk through the website and we'll write the code for you. You're going to want to clean up that code, obviously, but at least it gives you a start. And they both do both component and end-to-end tests. Cypress.io is a private company. Playwright is put out by Microsoft. Developers came from Puppeteer. So it really is true that, to me, from what I've been learning about Playwright in the last 4 weeks, is it does seem like because this is the newest kid on the block, they did solve a lot of the issues that Cypress still had. So this is the leapfrog of technology. Definitely we're seeing this in action. Documentation, excellent and thorough for Cypress. Playwright's very good. Community is already large and very friendly. Playwright is small but growing very quickly. Browsers are pretty similar. Languages, talked about that already. Platforms, pretty much equivalent. Okay, so again, we're going to take a look at some more in common things. Both of them easily integrated into a CI/CD system. Both of them have auto wait, so you don't have to tell your test, wait till something shows up on the screen. If it doesn't, both of these, if they don't see a button on the screen, they will wait to see if the button shows up. This makes it hugely better than some previous tools where you're constantly worrying about, well, has the page fully rendered? It's a pain in the butt. So these are a huge step forward. Assertion retest, similar to the auto wait, not going to get into it. Both of them, you can save the context after you've logged in, so you can just really quickly get back into a session and continue a second or third or subsequent test without having to relog in every time. And both can run tests by tags, intercept requests, and both can work with iframes. Performance, Cypress is faster than the older generation, but Playwright is actually smoking. You could argue they're both so fast that usually it's not an issue, and especially if you're running 8 threads simultaneously, which is kind of typical. I don't think you're going to see them finish significantly faster than the other when you're running 8 threads. You're going to wait for your app more, it seems to me. Okay, where does it run? Now here's the benefit of Cypress, but also its drawback. It does run in the browser, and that means that you have full access to the app. That's amazing. That's going to allow you to do some tests pretty slick. But Playwright is outside of the browser and it sends messages to it. You can still get access to almost everything, maybe even everything, but it does mean that some things are a little bit easier than in Cypress. The API is elegant and compact. In Cypress, more verbose in Playwright. I'll show that in an example. We talked about custom commands. You can't control multiple windows with Cypress because the app is running in the browser, whereas Playwright, you can do that. Same thing for tabs. You cannot run multiple tabs with Cypress, although you can modify the DOM so the target is in the same tag, and that's the workaround that everyone does. Okay, keep going. Neither can compare traces yet. That's going to be huge when you have, let's say you're running something headlessly and you've got a trace of something that failed. Well, it would be nice if some algorithm could say, okay, well, here's a trace of what worked before compared to what's not working. Show me what the error is. That still has to be done manually. But both can use Chrome DevTools protocol, so you can get full access to the browser. Okay, plugins, huge library for Cypress. Playwright doesn't really have plugins unless you use a forked project called Playwright Extra. Cypress doesn't have the tracing yet, but it might be coming, whereas Playwright does. So all in all, when I'm having worked with Cypress for a long time now and just getting into Playwright, I really want to be fair to Cypress. And although the API is elegant, it makes some common programming constructs difficult. For example, creating a loop isn't easy, and the Cypress recurse plugin is needed. And although there's a workaround for almost everything, some simple things, when I look back over a year of learning the tool, required more research than I'd like. So here's an example of Cypress code working with an iframe. Now you notice that, take a look at the side.iframe. It goes and grabs that object, and then it sends that object, it's chained. You could put all this on the same line. And then it says, okay, well, the result of the iframe, send it to the find. The result of the find, send it to the should. And if you see that, if that all qualifies, then you have a passing test. Well, here's Playwright. Playwright is more declarative, more typical. Well, it turns out, yeah, that's a little bit more verbose, and the API for Cypress is really elegant. But at the same time, if I want to break apart that line with the iframe to do some debugging, I actually now have to go in and change the code to break that apart. Whereas it's already working, it's already structured in a way that I can do debugging with Playwright. So this is just one of the examples where some of the things that are really slick about Cypress kind of come back and bite you. Definitely, I get it. It's a hugely popular tool, but definitely take some time and compare these two tools, because Playwright to me seems to have really fixed a bunch of things, or not made problems in the first place. Maybe that's the better way to say it. Here are some great videos to watch if you're in the process of choosing which tool. Okay, more how to set up a regime. You may want to use the QA accounts module on Drupal.org. That will create an account in the form of QA underscore and then whatever the role name is. And again, when you need to set up, oh, I need to test that this user can see something, but another user can't see something, QA accounts might come to the rescue for you. And then you can enable and disable the module as required for testing. So you can safely, I would say safely, still have this running on production. But if you're very concerned, as soon as the testing is done, disable the module and install it. Handling sensitive passwords is pretty typical. Nothing different than using any other CI system. You can use HashiCorp or Amazon or Locker or the secret environment variables in your CI/CD system. So what other tools should you consider? You're going to likely have a CI/CD system, which those are some popular ones. I'm really a big fan of GitHub Actions. If you haven't had a chance to play with that, it's pretty darn slick. I'm a huge fan of Tugboat QA, giving preview environments for every single merge request. That means that you can have, let's say, 50 different previews all pretty lightweight, and you can have them last as long as you want. You can keep them up forever, or you can have them automatically killed after a few days. But it does mean that you can send unique links to people who need to check code, whether it's in marketing or whatever, and you don't have to play that game of, oh, we have eight testing servers, who's got test server 1, who's got test server 2, and all that. You can now basically have an infinite number of preview environments. That is such a huge benefit for a team. I can't recommend enough adding preview environments to your system, your processes right away. And then, I would say look for some sort of test server grid, because you don't want the effort of setting up 8 different containers, and it's just a lot of work. I think they pay for themselves. Okay, we're coming towards the end. I know this is long. Selecting tests to write. So identify your application components. This will probably have between 20 and 60 of them. So here's just a few of them. And with hypothetical test coverage for each one, that's been determined by the QA people. So you can change those numbers according to code coverage if you want, but I think that it's probably fine if you just do a rough estimate. Then you assess by risk. You cover the most valuable behaviors first. These are going to be smoke tests. Then you cover what just changed if there's a new merge request. You can cover different layers, different API layers, make sure everything's talking to each other. And then you expand the coverage as resources permit. Concentrate on the most important components. It's usually not worth reaching 100% for every component. So even though the about over there has 100%, it's because it's a very simple page, but you may not get to 100% on some of the other components. 80% is usually good. Maybe a shopping cart should be at 100% though. And then definitely use the test case management tool that integrates with your ticketing system, TestRail, SmartBear, or similar. Okay, what are some of the core tests? We're coming to the end here. Registration, login, and forgot password. Definitely want those. Basic navigation. This, by the way, is for smoke tests. These should be runnable within 15 minutes. It should be runnable on any target server. Basic data entry and display, error handling, integrations, performance, and security. So definitely smoke tests, you want to think about all those. I don't even know if I have time for a demo. I won't maybe run too much. Yeah, I'm going to give you guys a demo just to show you some things. So this demo starts from GitHub Actions, and it uses the source repo that's sitting on Pantheon, and then it compiles the artifact. This gives it access to Drush, and then it triggers testery, and then the tests actually run on testery. Okay, let's see. Can you all see GitHub Actions? Yep. Okay, great. Okay, so let's take a look at we're going to do this one here. This is GitHub Actions. Very simple to understand. I've told it I want you to be able to run this workflow, set up some environment variables. Here's the job. Okay. Describe how the job was triggered. Okay. This is a GitHub action here, which is called set up Python. Okay. And then I do some installation of pip. Here's starting up MySQL. Check out the repository code. That's all handled for me quite nicely. Then I import the database. I set up PHP, different checkout. I set up the Composer cache directory. That makes things run faster the next time so that I don't have to run Composer all the time. Cache the Composer dependencies here. And there's a GitHub rate limiter. Don't forget that guy. Then you install Composer. Change a couple settings here. Make sure Drush is working. Disable the maintenance mode. In order to run Drush, you have to start this guy. And then I actually send the message over to test3, like that. Then I tell it to save the screenshots and videos here in here. Okay, so that's pretty simple, and it's not difficult. GitHub action. You can just take a look at these files and copy and paste to your heart's content. It's a great tool. Okay, so if I want to run something, I can run this here, and I can run the workflow there, and that's now triggering inside of GitHub Actions exactly what I just showed you. So I'm going to show you a previous running one. I'm not going to wait to here's what it looks like. I'm not going to wait for the other one to come back. Okay, we just walked through all of that, and that was successful. Okay, one more thing. Here's how Cypress looks. We're going to say end-to-end testing. I want to use the Electron browser. Oh, let's get rid of that. And then I'm going to run the test locally. This is actually running against a production site. I've got a random, here is a random string that I need to find show up inside of the web form results or submissions form of Drupal. So now it's looking inside and it found it, successful. There you go, so that test passed. And you can do this with Ethereal, or you can do this with Mailosaur. So if you want to make sure that your emails are getting through, these are free services that act like fake SMTP incoming servers. And then you can check that the email says, first of all, arrived and says exactly what it needs to say. Okay, so I have to kind of push on. So I am starting a new project called Automated Testing. It's not ready yet. I'm going to be pushing some code in the next week or two. It's going to have useful custom Drush commands for both. It's going to work for both Playwright and Cypress. It's going to have unique commands for both of them. Basically, I said that. It's going to work inside and outside containers, and it's going to be, like I said, for both of them. Okay. Shoot, that was longer than I thought. I'm so sorry.
And I kind of let it go long because I think next is lunch, so I don't think we're going to interrupt anyone else's. But there is a question. Are you going to share the slides?
Yeah, I'm going to check within I don't know 2 hours. It'll be on the session page on the site. I think I have access to that. Do I, Mark? Like there's
That is a good question.
There's an upload your presentation field, I believe.
I can get back to you on that if you don't figure it out.
Okay, I'll reach out if I get into trouble. Oh, okay. So, any questions?
Well, I'm not seeing anyone's hands up. It was pretty comprehensive. Well done. Really good overview of automated testing, I thought.
Great.
If no one has any questions, I mean, I'm sure that they can. Do you have like an email you want to share?
Yeah, actually, I should have put that on the. Here, let me put that slide back up. So you can reach me at aangel@performantlabs.com. I'm also on Slack under the Drupal channel. You can ping me directly through there. That's probably the two best ways. Either email or on Slack are the best ways to reach me.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks, Andre.
Good. You're very welcome, and you're very welcome, Ralph and Marco, and everyone.
All right. Well, okay. I think that's it. We'll go ahead and break for lunch.
Cheers, everyone. We'll see you in the afternoon sessions.
Bye.